Okay, so we're dealing with two-step equalities, two-step equations. On this first one, in example number 7 down here, it looks like I have negative 1/5 b minus 2/5 equals negative 2. Now, the way this works is the number that's connected with the variable over here, in this case, negative 1/5, we're going to wait and save it till later. We always work these in the reverse order of operations. So as opposed to undoing this multiplication first here, we're going to undo this subtraction. I want to isolate the variable and get it by itself, so I have to do the two opposite operations that are over here with the variable. In this case, my two operations are subtraction and multiplication. I'm going to undo my subtraction first by adding 2/5. Also with negative 2, I'm going to add 2/5. Over here, my negative 2/5 and my positive 2/5 cancel, leaving this by itself here. So I'm going to bring my equal sign straight down. Negative 1/5 b equals whatever negative 2 plus 2/5 is. Well, in order to do this, since my signs are different, I'm combining a negative and a positive. I do have to subtract their values. So I'm going to do 2 minus 2/5. 2 minus 2/5. Now, I need to have a fraction over here so that I can subtract this part of a number. I'm going to rewrite 2, borrow from it, and make it a 1 whole here. And I'm just going to really rewriting 2 as 1 and 5/5. 1 and 5/5 is the same number as 2, just written in a way that I can now do this subtraction here. I can say 5/5 minus 2/5 is 3/5. Bring down my 1. And since from the two numbers to begin with, this was my greater absolute value with my negative 2 here, so my answer will be negative there. I've got a negative 1 and 3/5. At this point, my variable is still being multiplied by negative 1/5, so I have to divide by negative 1/5. On this side, if I take a number, multiply it by negative 1/5, and then divide it 1/5, they'll cancel each other out, leaving that variable by itself. The operation that I really have to work on is over here because, again, I have to maintain my equality. Dividing by 1/5 over here, negative 1/5 over here, means that I must also divide by negative 1/5 over here. I'm going to make this an improper fraction, and then I'm going to do keep, change, flip. 1 times 5 is 8. I'm sorry, 1 times 5 is 5 plus 3 is 8. This will be negative 8/5. And now instead of dividing by negative 1/5, I'm going to have to multiply by negative 5 over 1. Instead of dividing by the fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. This is my keep, this is my change, this is my flip. This will get me to my answer, so I'm going to show that I can simplify these 5's ahead of time. They will be 1 and 1. Now when I do this multiplication, I will have an 8 times a 1 and a 1 times a 1. They're both negative, so my answer will be positive. Positive 8 over 1 is just 8. In order to do the other example over here, we do have decimals that we're dealing with. So I'm going to show how this works. We have 5d minus 3.3 equals 7.2. Again, the two operations that are over here with my variable are multiplication and subtraction. So I'm going to have to do addition and division. I'm going to start with the addition. So in order to isolate my variable, the first thing I need to get rid of is this minus 3.3. Then I'm going to get rid of this 5 by dividing 5. But let's begin here. These do cancel. I'm going to bring my equal sign straight down. All that's left on the left side of my equal sign is this 5d. 7.2 plus 3.3. I've got 5 here, 10 here, 10.5. Now the only operation being done to my variable now is multiplying by 5. I will do the opposite and dividing by 5. So let's show how this looks whenever we drop it down to the right in the house, is how we might say that. We're going into 10.5. 5 won't go into 1, but it'll go into 10 twice. My decimal is here. 5 will go into 5 one time. These are both positive numbers, so my answer is positive 2.1.